filmed this look that I'm wearing today. It is a very simple, almost exclusively drugstore makeup look. I wanted to do a makeup look for people who are just getting started out wearing makeup, whether you're 12 or you're 32 and you're not really sure what products to use or how to apply them. I show you just kind of the easiest way to apply store makeup products, and then I also show you just little ways you can amp it up once you start to feel more comfortable with makeup, or if you just want to spend a little bit more money. So if you want to see how I get this look and just hear me talk about kind of makeup 101, then please keep watching. Alright, so first of all, you just want to start with really fresh, moisturized skin. There are a lot of good options from the drugstore. My favorite, I would definitely say, is the CeraVe moisturizing lotion. For foundation, I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte foundation today. I just think it's a really good option for all skin types. This is really great if you have oily skin, if you have dry skin, as long as you've really moisturized it before. It doesn't really cling to dry patches. I do get dry patches sometimes, and it just provides a really, really good coverage, and you don't have to use any sort of makeup brush or sponge with it if you don't want to or if you don't have one. So I'm going to start by just putting some of that on my finger. It just squeezes out from the tube, and I'm just going to dot that all around my face, especially on the areas that I'm going to want more coverage, like my chin, where I have a few blemishes. And then I'm just going to kind of pat this to spread it around my face. You can rub, and that's fine. You can just rub it in all of your skin, but I really like to do kind of a patting motion. I just feel like it really works it into the skin and provides a nice coverage. So that's our foundation. I have 2 blemishes on my chin, and this has completely covered them up. I'm happy with the amount of coverage that I have. And all we have left are my terrible under eye circles. So for that, my absolute favorite concealer of all time now, not even of kind of drugstore or high-end, is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. And the way that you want to apply your concealer, it's really tempting just to apply a little, I'll show you, it would be really tempting just to apply a little crescent like that and cover that under eye circle, but that doesn't do as good of a job of covering up what we want to cover up as doing a big triangle. This really highlights the center of your face, and it eliminates your under eye circle, and it just really brightens up your face. So I just apply in a triangle, and then I just tap it out, and this is all about tapping. You really don't want to rub underneath your eye. And whatever's left on my finger, I just tap onto my eyelid to get rid of any veins. I'm really pale, so I have a bunch of veins on my eyelid that always look discolored and kind of gross, and if I don't want to wear eyeshadow that day, it really draws attention to the fact that I'm not wearing any eyeshadow. And then I just keep tapping, tapping, tapping. Everyone says to use your ring finger. I do it out of habit, but you can use whatever finger you want. You can tap with your pointer finger if you want, but that just makes a really huge difference, as you can tell, that concealer. And then whatever's left on my finger, I like to just kind of go back and go over any areas that I feel like I want a little bit more coverage. I feel like my nose looks a little bit not as covered as I would like it to be, and let's say it didn't cover that blemish as much as I wanted. I just use whatever's left on my finger. You can obviously go back and put a dot of concealer, but I feel like you would be surprised how little product it takes to cover up kind of your little oopsies. So that's it for the base and the under eye concealer. If you wanted, and you didn't want to buy any brushes or anything like that, you could definitely just leave it the way it is right now. kind of my first way that you could amp up your makeup a notch is I'm going to show you one of my favorite products. This is the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. This is a drugstore dupe or cheaper option for the Beauty Blender. The Beauty Blender is like $25. I want to say this was $9. This is a reusable makeup sponge that starts out really small, and you wet it under the faucet and you just continually wring it out for about maybe 20 seconds, and it gets bigger and it's so soft. And this really just enhances the finish and blending of your makeup so much. So I'm just going to take this damp and go over everything that I'm done, just patting, and especially like around my nose and on my chin. This is really changing the finish of my foundation. Putting it on with my fingers is fine, and it gave me a good coverage, but this gets rid of any excess product, any cakiness. I'm going to go under my eyes now, and it just really makes the finish so much more beautiful and even. I'm just going to go over everything that I've done. So that's it. That really enhanced the finish of my foundation a lot. And because of that, because it took away all the excess product, I don't feel like I have to set my under eye area or my foundation. But if you do want to go ahead and do that, and this will up the lasting power of your makeup a ton, my favorite setting powder from the drugstore that I would recommend is the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder. This stuff is super cheap. I have it in the shade 001 Transparent. That's what anyone could get. But it also comes in like more foundation-y colors for if you're darker than I am. But I'm going to apply this just with any kind of brush. My favorite brush to set is, this is a $3 brush from e.l.f. It's called a blush brush, but I really like it for setting powder. So you just kind of dab your brush in there, and then I start under my eyes, just patting. And then you want to take this powder in your T-zone if you're oily especially. Even if you're not oily, I would not say that I have super oily skin, but my makeup does tend to break down in my T-zone a little bit throughout the day. So your T-zone is your nose, kind of the sides of your nose, your chin, and the center of your forehead. So that's it with that. That's going to prevent your under eye makeup from creasing. That's going to help your T-zone area not get greasy throughout the day, and just really help with the longevity of your makeup. That makes a really big difference. Again, you don't have to do that, especially with the Infallible Pro Matte foundation. You don't have to set it if you don't want to, but I think that powder is like less than $5, and for a $3 brush, and it really lasts you a long time, I would say it's definitely worth the little extra effort. So that's just one little way you can amp up your makeup. Next, for blush, my definite #1 recommendation for drugstore blush would be the brand Milani. They're baked blushes. These are just really beautiful and baked. They have a little bit of shimmer in them, so they act as a highlight for your cheeks as well. I personally love the shade Dolce Pink, but the shade Luminoso from Milani is like definitely their most popular one. It's supposed to be a dupe of the NARS Orgasm blush. And in case you've never heard of NARS Orgasm, it's like the #1 best-selling blush of all time. It is a corally shade with kind of gold shimmer in it. I personally don't like it for my skin tone, but again, that's a really good option. It's another one from this line. All of the shades in this Milani baked blush line are really pretty. So for this, you just need a brush to apply it. And I'm going to use another e.l.f. brush because they are so affordable. This is from their dollar brush line, and this is the powder brush. And so I'm just going to swirl my brush onto the blush. And how I like to apply it, I know a lot of people, you might have heard, this is kind of like the old school way of applying brush, is you smile and you put it on the apples of your cheeks. That really accentuates the fullest part of your face, and it can make you look heavier, and it just looks kind of dated. The way I like to apply my blush is I like to start kind of at the arch of my brow and work back. Just that area. That looks really pretty, and it helps kind of sculpt your face. So I'm just applying this in kind of circular motions. You don't want it to look too overdone, But this blush is really nice because it does have a little bit of shimmer in it. It does kind of highlight your face a little bit. And then just whatever's left on my brush, I like to put along my hairline just to add a little bit of warmth. Now, if you wanted to take up your makeup just a little bit more of a notch, you could add a contour or highlight. The only drugstore contour that I could recommend right now is this Hard Candy. It's the 3 Times a Lady Trio. It also comes with a highlight in it, but I just really hate this highlight shade. It's way too shimmery and glittery. I would not recommend you putting that on your face. But if you want to, you could contour with this shade just with any kind of small brush. If you had another e.l.f. brush, I really like this e.l.f. small tapered brush. That's what I'm going to use to show you just how you could contour. I'm just going to dab my brush into that brown shade and then suck in my cheeks and put it right along that line. Just to add some dimension to my face. I'm going back into that product. And then with the other side of that brush, I'm just blending. And as you can see, this side of my face looks a lot more chiseled and defined than this side. And it just kind of pops up my cheekbone. It's like a little push of bra for your cheeks. And then if you wanted to take that contour up a little bit of a notch, I always like to contour my jawline. It just makes you look a lot more chiseled and nice. Chiseled and skinny and put together. Just that shadow it creates, you can't recreate that unless you lose 20 pounds. Alright, so that's it with the blush and the contour. Now we're moving on to the eyes. For the eyes, it's really easy to get a lot of impact on your eyes with just very simple techniques. What I'm going to show you today, we're going to use my absolute favorite drugstore eyeshadow. It is the L'Oreal Infallible eyeshadow in the shade Amber Rush. This is just the most beautiful kind of rose gold, bronzy shade that you can ever get in your whole life. So all we're going to do for this is just swirl our finger around in it a little bit, and look how pretty that is. The sheen that you get from this. Okay, well, first of all, the shade of this is so beautiful. It works for any eye color, brown, green, blue, hazel, whatever you have. It is not so loud and bright that it draws too much attention to you and kind of makes you look younger than you would want to look or more out there, but it's also not so demure and toned down that it's not worth putting it on because you're not going to get noticed. So I just put a little of that on my ring finger, and then I just swipe it across my entire lid. And you just want to put this on the area of your lid that moves. You don't want to put it from here or above to start with. I'm just swiping it across. And look how pretty that color is. And then whatever's left on my finger, which is not really anything, you just kind of blend upwards. Just like in that area, it's called your crease. It's kind of the little hollow part where your eye goes in right there. And you can kind of feel your brow bone, just kind of blend. Just so there's no harsh edges. And that's it. That's all we're going to do for eyeshadow. Blending, blending. And then if you took it up too high, you just take a clean finger and you just kind of wipe away where your brow bone is to get rid of any product you didn't want up that far. But you can see how pretty this is. It's just the perfect kind of bronzy shade to draw a little bit of attention to your eyes. And like yesterday, I did a full face of makeup, and this was the eyeshadow that I used. I just did a quick swipe of this and went on my merry way. I think it's absolutely perfect for anything. I would wear this to a job interview. I would wear this for a first date, for a night out with the girls, for coffee with a friend. I just think it's perfect. But if you wanted to amp it up just a little bit, then there is another shade in this collection that I really, really like. It's the same L'Oreal Infallible eyeshadow, and it's Iced Latte. This is just like a really pretty champagne shade. And I see it right there. And I would just dab this on my pinky and put it right on your tear duct. And that does wonders just to open up your eye and make you look really super awake. And to kind of finish everything up. Now this might come as a shocker to some of you who are watching this, but I don't wear eyeliner on a daily basis. I've actually started wearing it a little bit rarely. I just feel like, especially for a beginner, it's so much work and you can make just as big of an impact with mascara that I don't feel like it's 100% necessary. So I am going to curl my eyelashes. This is something that I would recommend. You can buy an eyelash curler. The Revlon eyelash curler is really good, and I think it's less than $10, and it just makes such a big difference for your lashes. How you curl your lashes is you just place this right over them. You don't want to get too close where it hurts, and you just clamp down. Just try to get as many lashes as you can in there, and I just kind of pump it for up to like 30 seconds. And look at how much better that eye looks already just with the lashes curled. So I feel like that makes the difference of me not having to wear eyeliner a lot. Now for mascara. I hate to say I don't own a drugstore mascara right now. I just don't have any that are open, and I wasn't going to go buy one for this video. But hands down, my #1 favorite drugstore mascara is Maybelline Mega Plush Mascara or the Falsies Mascara. So, but I think a lot of putting on mascara is in the technique, so I'll zoom you in a little bit to show you how I do it. I start obviously at the base, and I like to wiggle and alternate between wiggling and kind of turning the wand up to the roots. And if you get mascara on your eyelid and on your eyeshadow, don't freak out. You just let it dry and then go over it with a dry cotton swab once it's dry, and it will completely come off. And then you can just touch up your eyeshadow a little bit with your finger. But I just am wiggling. That's it. Whether you have the shortest or the longest lashes, that will really make a big difference. I firmly believe in applying like at least 3 coats of mascara. I basically keep applying it until I feel like it's getting too clumpy, but I would definitely recommend applying more mascara than you think, because look at just what a big difference that makes on our eyes. So now on to the other side. I know it can be tricky doing your opposite eye. I'm left-handed, and right now I'm doing the right eye, so it can be a little bit tricky, but just do the best we can. And that's it. For beginners, I would not recommend putting mascara on your lower lashes because I think it can kind of close in your eyes and make them look smaller and you not quite as awake. So I would not recommend mascara on the lower lashes from the beginning unless you just want to. For brows, I really do kind of only use high-end brow products because I feel like they're just so much better. But I will say that I have tried the Brow Stylist Plumper was pretty good. I just felt like there wasn't really a good shade for me. But my favorite cheap brow product, it's not really from the drugstore, it's from Ulta, but it's from the drugstore half of Ulta, and their brand, which is super cheap, is the Ulta Brow Tint. I got it in the shade Light. This is very, very similar to an expensive product that I like called Benefit Gimme Brow. It has a really, really, really small brush, and it just applies a little bit of color onto your brows and defines them a little bit. So I'm going to be applying that. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. Honestly, even more important than defining your brows and filling them in, I think, is just them having a good shape on their own. I think getting your brows waxed by a professional makes a way bigger difference than filling them in ever could. So I would highly recommend that. I just don't pluck because I'm not good at it. I don't have a high pain tolerance, and I just feel like other people can look at my face and know what my brows are supposed to look like way better than I can. I don't know. I like the girl who does my brows, and I have gotten so used to it, I don't think I could do it on my own. So I've just worked that through my brows. You can tell what a big difference this does make, and I would recommend getting some sort of fill-in product For starters, a product like this that is just like a gel that you work through is super easy, and that's what I would recommend. It's kind of fun to go outside your comfort zone with lipstick and lip gloss and all that and kind of come up with maybe a signature look. For me, that's purple lips. I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to put on this NYX clear gloss. But for some people, it's red lipstick. But I would definitely, especially if you're going on a date or something, apply something, even if it's just this clear gloss or it's a red lipstick. I feel like it really ties the look together and makes everything look really nice and polished. So that's the whole video. That's my kind of Makeup 101 masterclass, what I wish someone had sat down and taught me when I was first trying to put on makeup. But if you have any questions, put them down below, especially if you're like younger and you're just trying to figure out kind of what to wear and how to apply makeup. Give me your questions. I'd be happy to answer them. I wish that I had someone to ask all these questions when I was first starting. I don't know, I was just kind of a mess. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, put them down below. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're not subscribed, please hit subscribe, and I'll see y'all soon.